Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Brim Fishing Project. I've got a massive episode for you today. We're jumping in the fast boats, heading back across to Western Australia to Albany to review round 5 of the ABT. Now, this episode has a whole lot of stuff going on here. We've got 6 guests, we've got surface lures, we've got slow rolling, we've got grubs, we've got borrowed boats, we've got first time winners, and we've got old favourites such as Cromo and Joseph Gardner. So it's got a little bit of everything. So stay tuned. I'll roll the intros and we're going to get straight into it. Here we go.
Welcome to the Brim Fishing Project. This is where you need to be every Tuesday to find out all the latest tips and tricks to help you target brim on lures. You'll get to hear from some of Australia's elite brim competition anglers and see how they were able to achieve their results in competitions around the country. Now, here is your host, the 2019 Hobie Kayak Fishing World Champion, Andrew Deeth.
All right. So there's going to be a massive episode already. So I'm just going to cut straight to it, get right into it, and we'll get into the angler interviews in just a minute. All right. So in terms of the competition stats and what have you, this was held back on the 20th and 21st of April 2024 in Albany, Western Australia. So for the Saturday, in terms of the bite periods, we had 57 in the fish activity wheel, which is just an average mark. The major bite period was at 8:23 through to 10:53, with a high tide at 10:06 a.m. at 0.82 and a low tide at 3:16 p.m. at 0.7. On the Sunday, the fish activity wheel went up a little bit to 71, and which ran from 9:02 through to 11:32 a.m. with a high tide at 9:46 at 0.88 and a low tide at 3:48 at 0.63. This is another one of these tides that really confuses me, but in any case, that's what it said. In terms of the average fish to win the comp, the 10 fish for 5.45 gives you an average of 540 grams or just over half a kilo. Okay, so we're going to jump straight into this and get straight into the angler interviews. Here we go. All right, so first up in third place for the non-boaters, I have an angler who dropped his 6 fish for 2.8 kilos even. He's been on the show before. I'd like to welcome back to the Brim Fishing Project, Michael Samet. Welcome, mate.
Hey, mate. Thanks a lot.
Mate, good to have you back on again pretty soon too.
Yeah, always a pleasure. You know you're doing something right if you're getting interviewed here, so it's good.
Exactly. Well, there you go. All right. Let's go back and do a bit of a rundown through your pre-fish. Give us a bit of an idea of what you did.
Yeah, so I went down to 2 weeks before the comp sort of came just to try and get a bit of an idea on what was going on. Even as a non-boater, I like to pre-fish just to try and get an idea for myself what's going on so I can try and do as good as I can. And did well, got a couple of 35 forkers throughout the system, so there was a lot of fish going, about. And then pre-fished with Cromo on the Friday. Very different to what it was the 2 weeks before. We hopped around the system, explored the inlet a bit, went up the King, fished the racks, and yeah, he had his game plan sorted out fairly quickly. We were getting fish everywhere, so it was just trying to work out what was going to produce the best bag from it.
Yeah, okay. So if you said it was different on the pre-fish where you got the 35 forkers, what did you get them on?
So I was getting them, I got them on the Daiwa grubs. I'm not sure on the colour. It looks similar to gudgeon in the Z-Man colour.
Sure.
And on the Hurricane Sprats.
Okay.
And also on Daiwa spikes.
Okay. So there's 3 lures. So one hard body crank and then a couple of plastics. And then what sort of changed through to the next Friday? Why was it different?
I found there wasn't really as many big fish that we could find. I think most of the fish we caught, I don't know if they were any bigger than 30 fork on the pre-fish. So just plenty of fish around. We didn't really sting it, so we didn't try and catch fish as such. But the ones we did catch, there wasn't anything substantial there.
Sure. Okay. All right. So then we roll around to the Saturday. Who did you get paired up with and how did your day go?
Yeah, so I had Callum first up. So I was pretty happy with that. Callum being local, known pretty well, fished with him before. So it's nice to sort of fish with someone like mates that you get along with. So
Absolutely.
makes the day go well.
Yeah.
First up, I think we went out towards the flats on the either side of the entrance of the King River.
Okay.
Which is one of the two sort of rivers leading it up. I fished sprats and bent minnows first up. They were the two sort of lures I used. I found the sprats were working better for me, and got my bag pretty quick. Nothing big, sort of around that 20, 25 to 27 fork, but just good to have a bag, a couple of legals in there.
All right. If you're using the sprats, how do you rig them and how's a cast look for you?
Yeah, so Matt, I normally go 1/30th, but depends on where we're fishing. It could be 1/20th, 1/16th. Because it was less than a metre, I had 1/30th on these ones.
Sure. And
so to cast it out, let it sink, I find a lot of the takes I get, it's either as soon as it lands and sinks, or I give it the rod a couple of quick lifts up and then just let it sink again. So I'm working it really slow, and a lot of the time just letting it sit there.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're using those size jig heads, I assume they're not hidden weights, or they are?
No, not hidden weights. No.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. Depends on what the bottom is, if it's weedy or if it's sandy, and how I want that tail to sit.
Sure. Okay. So you got your bag early. How'd you go about upgrading?
We went out to some of the pylons looking for Taiwan. I know Callum said he got one on pre-fish that was pretty good, but we didn't find any. And then we went straight to the racks. I was fishing plastics in there, so either the Z-Man grubs, the Daiwa 2.5-inch grubs as well, or the sprats, and just cycling between them, casting at the baskets and just letting it sink down. I did find there were fish in the middle between the baskets as well, so they were cruising around amongst the cockleweed. And it was just a matter of working our way through. It was getting heaps of 27 to 28 forkers.
Okay.
So that was sort of the average size, and really hard to upgrade from that.
Yeah.
And we spent most of the day, probably until about 12:30, 12:45 in the racks.
Okay. And is that something you enjoy? You like rack fishing?
I do, yeah. The racks here are, there's a few different types of racks through the system. I think it's got to do with when they were built and the different technologies that they've got, but a lot of them are floating baskets. So you've got a pole on each end and it's all floating underneath. So there's no poles to bust you off. And I was using 4-pound the whole time.
Right.
So that way it's nice light presentation, and you don't really have to get too worried about getting busted off either.
Yeah, and I assume there's not much rubble or structure under the racks at all?
No, there isn't. There's a lot of weed. So really, I think I lost one fish that was decent, and he had me tied up in the weed and pulled the hook.
Ouch. Okay.
So, yeah. After that, we went into the Cowgan. Callum said he had a bank there that he likes to fish, and it was a bit of a deeper flat. And we just went there and started working it. I was fishing sprats and Callum was fishing bents. And we weren't getting many bites. I think he landed a couple of rats, and then all of a sudden he got a fish. It would have been maybe about 36 fork.
Nice.
So then I tried a bent on as well. And then I managed to get one which was around a 33 forker. So that was a good upgrade from, I think I had like a 27 forker that was in there.
Yeah, nice. Decent upgrade. And for yourself, what colour bent minnow do you like over there?
The peach face one, that standard one that everyone uses.
Everyone uses? Yeah.
Yeah, but I also did really well on plain white as well on the pre-fish.
Okay.
So I had a couple of them left with the rattle. So I was using them on the pre-fish. I didn't use the peach face on that.
Very good.
So that was still working well.
Yeah, okay. And that was pretty much the end of your day?
Yeah, that was it. We had an hour there. We gave the bank a couple of drifts, and yeah, I thought my bag was average. I think I had about 1.6, 1.7 kilos on day one. So it wasn't too bad, but wasn't expecting to be sitting in second after day one with that.
Yeah, okay. Oh, well, that's a good thing for you.
Yeah, it was.
Very good. All right. So on the Sunday, who did you draw and how did your Sunday play out?
Yeah, so drew Rick on day 2. That was a good day as well. Fished with Rick in another ABT in the Swan, and yeah, just a good day out on the water with him. First off, we went similar to the entrance to the King, and we went into the King as well, but it was very quiet. I think I pulled a couple of legals pretty early on again with the Brats and bent minnows. So just did the same thing that I did the day before. When we went into King, we didn't see anything. No follows, no fish cruising around, completely different to pre-fish. So we didn't spend much time in there. Then we fished around the inlet a bit, a few flats, a few banks, a few poles. Then it probably was about 11 o'clock. Then we went out to the racks and then managed to bag out. I got a couple of upgrades, but nothing special. I think I weighed about 1.1 kilos on day 2.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so a little bit down. So on day 2, so in the racks, you got most of them on sprats?
Yeah, most on sprats and on grubs as well.
Okay, cool. And sorry, which grubs are you running?
The Daiwa 2.5-inch one.
That's right. The ones that look like
Yeah.
gudgeon. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, in any case, there was enough to bring you home in third place, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, really happy with the result. Yeah. It was a shame that there was only 10 boats in it. Hopefully for the Blackwood round coming up, we'll get a few more.
Yeah, looks a small field, but it doesn't matter. You're still up in the top 3, which is very good. All right. Is there anything else about the fishing before we move off?
That was the main part of it. I know there was heaps of fish around, but they just weren't really biting for a lot of people, I found. It was tough fishing. It definitely wasn't something for us anyway, where we were getting 30, 40 legals a day.
Sure. Yeah.
Really had to work for them. I know Cromo had a different story. Yeah, he probably caught 100 and something legals each day, which is nuts. But yeah, but I know it was tough fishing.
Yeah. But like we said, you end up with a decent result, which is very cool. All right. So for third place in the ABT, what did you get to take home?
Yeah, got a Daiwa prize pack. Probably had about 8 or 9 hard bodies in it, a few packets of plastics and jig heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple $100 worth of Daiwa gear. It was really good.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very good. All right, mate. That's a great rundown. Is there anyone you'd like to say thank you to before we head off?
Yeah, just like to say thanks to ABT for running the events for us, the WA Tournament Anglers guys who actually ran it, the event here, and all the sponsors and everyone involved. So, and a couple of the East Coaster guys who came over to help bump up the numbers. It was really good.
Exactly. And one last thing, are you coming across to fish any rounds over here?
I've already done the 2 Tassie rounds and I did the 2 Vic rounds.
Okay.
So I've already done 4 over there. I don't think I'll be coming over to do any more. So it was just to qualify for the finals. So get my 5 rounds in.
Very good. All right. That sounds fantastic. All right, mate. I want to thank you for coming on again. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you in the back end of the year.
Look forward to it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. All right, anglers, fishing.com.au, your one-stop brim lure and tackle shop. Pick up the latest tackle, including Muscle Vibes, Cranker Crabs, OSP bent minnows, Z-Man plastics, Eco Gear lures, and Daiwa rods, reels, and tackle. Same-day shipping, shop where the world champion, the Australian champion, and the current ABT champion shops. Fishing.com.au, online or in-store at shop 18/29 Kiora Road, Miranda. And the last one I did of these, I was still talking about the baby vibes, and I think anyone that's listening to this from Perth or Western Australia, you need to jump online and have a look at these. The cockle-coloured baby vibes. They've done extremely well for me. Not sure whether it's the colour or the time of year. It's actually hard to tell. But I do like the sort of the dull golden sides with the orange belly and the black top. For me, they've been really good. I've had some great sessions already. And while you're there on fishing.com.au, jump on and have a look at the new jackal colour they've got listed there. Definitely worth your look. Anyway, jump online, have a look and get some in your kit. All right. So coming in second place in the non-boater division, I have an angler that this was his first time on the system over there. He's been on the show before, and in this competition, he dropped 6 fish for 3.15 kilos. I've got John Fitzgibbon. Welcome back, mate.
G'day, Andrew. How are you?
Mate, you're having a bit of a stellar run.
Yeah. No, it was a bit of luck involved, but it's going good. Enjoying it.
Definitely, mate. First and second, first down in Tassie and then second over in West Oz, mate. That's a pretty good year, I'd say.
Yeah, it was nice over in Western Australia. It was beautiful weather. It was nice and warm. Get away from the cold.
Definitely. And, mate, that was the first time that you've been over there. What do you think of the place?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a shame it's so dry at the moment. The countryside's really dry. They've been in drought for a long time by the look of it. But as Perth is a beautiful spot. And we travelled around. Actually ended up travelling with the family for a couple of weeks while we were there.
Nice.
Went to Rottnest Island and things like that. It was a beautiful spot.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So getting around to comp day, so you didn't get a chance to pre-fish. You'd never been on the system. How about you tell us who you got paired up with and how your day went?
Yeah, day one I was with Kim McIntyre. He's from Western Australia. And, we headed off in the morning. We started up the Kings River, I think it's called.
Yeah, that's correct.
And, we didn't stay there long. I caught 2 fish up there and got them on the muss.
Okay.
So that was out in the middle of nowhere, just threw out into the bay and hopping it across.
And what sort of size fish did you get first up?
I think it was 33 was the first one to the fork.
Okay, nice, solid.
And then, I'm not sure what the second one was. I only remember the good ones, so.
Fair enough.
It mustn't have been as good as that. But and then we didn't stay there long. It was only probably a half hour or so. And then we fished in oyster racks all day after that.
Right, okay. Let's go back to the muss. Did you have any particular one on?
It's just a single treble, just in the dark light, just the black light one.
Okay.
I don't think they're Callum's ones. I think they're Joey's.
Okay. Yeah, so the blue lit ones. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've had them for a long time, still going through them. So, sort of been out of packet for a while, so you don't recognise them.
Fair enough. And you were just hopping those across the bottom, more or less?
Yeah, pretty much. Just a bit of a hop and leave them for a bit and a bit of a hop.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So you got a couple of fish early. You moved off to your second spot, which was the racks. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we scooted back through to the racks and fishing there. I think Kim might have been using bent minnow and I think I was chucking a plastic. It was pretty quiet for a while. And then we went through the end of the racks out under the weed flats. And I think I got my next good fish was on a Daiwa Prezzo, the 95 SP.
Okay.
The bit longer one. It was just pretty much off the weed, cockle beds and it.
Okay. And did that suspend over there properly? Or was it floating through? Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed to. Like it just rolling it slowly, it gets that wave going. And I find that's what I use a lot in Tassie too, and seems to I don't know, it seems to I think track the bigger fish, the bigger presentation.
Yeah. It sounds like it works anyway.
Yeah.
And so you got a couple there. Was that sort of how you ended your bag, or how'd the rest of your day go?
Yeah, look, I think after that we were pretty quiet. We got a few fish. Kim got his bag, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and we just ended up nothing spectacular. It was just an enjoyable day with him, good fella, and had a laugh or two, and it was good.
Are you going to share how you broke his rule in the beginning?
He said to me, only one rule, the non-boater can't outfish him. So the start up the Kings River, I got them too, and he's like, you broke the rule in the first half hour.
Well, there you go.
So, but he's a really good fellow. We had a bit of banter between us and a good laugh. It was a good day.
Very good. Very good. All right, I haven't got the results from day one, so we'll just roll into day two. Who'd you get? Who was your drawer, and how'd your day go?
Yeah, day two was with Mark Crompton.
Yep.
Yeah, we headed straight to the racks and pretty much fished the oyster racks all day.
Okay.
We didn't move at all, really. And it was unbelievable the amount of fish that were around. We could visually see them. But some stages they were just pretty much swimming under the boat, and it was that clean and crystal water. We're all just like we were just both looking at them, going, "Look at these ones." You know what I mean? Yeah, it was amazing. Then we even watching them take the lures and.
Yeah, okay. So you got crystal clear water in oyster racks. What sort of water depth?
Oh, geez, it was just only from 1.5 to probably 4 or 5.
Yeah, okay.
4. Yeah, on the edges of the drop-off sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it didn't say they weren't real spooky like over here. They seemed like they're pretty quiet in some ways.
Okay. Now, I've heard anyone that goes out with Mark, they tend to have a pretty fun day.
Oh, he was awesome to fish with. Yeah, he, true gentleman. Yeah, he was always looking out for you and get your line up there, you know, like especially in racks, it sometimes can be hard. He's like, throw up beside me, mate, you'll be right. No, I'm watching you, I'm learning. It's all good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, no, he was really good to fish with.
Yeah. And how'd your day go? Did you get a bunch of them?
Yeah, caught a lot of fish. I don't know how many Mark got in the end. Would have been between 50 and 70 fish, I reckon he would have got, maybe more. Just, yeah, I probably got, 15 to 20. So, yeah, it was really enjoyable day on everything from like slippery dog, the diver slippery dog, to surface lure, to zip bait in the shallow diver.
Okay.
I was using also.
Like the riggy, the 56 riggy. Do you remember?
Yeah. I've just I've got one here. But, yeah, just the shallow diver and the zip bait. And then also pretty much sprat, 75 sprat in just the cleaver. Yeah, and that was pretty much it, really.
Yeah. Okay, and let's go through the sprat. How did you work that in the racks? And what jig head did you put in it? And did you just rip it and pause, or how did that look?
Just 1/20th, really, just to get a bit longer cast. It was pretty quiet, like it wasn't real windy. And then just lightly, not ripping it at all too hard, just a slight movement, little flick, let it settle, let it flick, let it settle, and then they'd take it.
Yeah. Very cool.
Not too erratic with them.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it was a pretty good day. What sort of leader were you running in the racks?
I had 4 pound on in the dialer, the FC.
Yep.
So it was still light.
Yeah.
I didn't go up for the racks. I just kept it light because of the clear water.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah.
And did any bust you up?
No, I don't think I did lose any that I can remember. Sorry, yeah, no. I think it was pretty good. Probably a bit of good boat driving from Mark as well and steering it around,
Fair enough.
And also had straight through on in the dialer finesse in the 3 pound.
Right.
And when but that was more across the face of the racks, if you know what I mean, like through the openings.
Yeah. How have you found the straight through? Do you enjoy using it?
Yeah, love it. Use it all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll have, like as a non-boater, I have 2 of each, 2 rods. You'll always ask the boater if we can, how many rods you can take. When they say 4, I say, you beauty. They say take 2 with braid and 2 with straight through. I have a 3 and a 5 pound. So, yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
It works well.
Very cool. All right. I reckon that's a pretty good rundown of the fishing. What did you get to take home for second place?
Another good diver pack. Yeah,
very nice.
Yeah, they're unreal actually. Like especially spikes and kadachis, and then all the diver jig heads you get. It's all stuff that you use. That's what's really good. It's not stuff that you just put on the bench and probably never touch it again. You just use them going through them.
Yeah. Did you get any colours of stuff that you wouldn't normally throw? Did you go, oh, that's a bit different to what I normally have?
Yeah. I've actually got a heap laid out here in front of me, and there's colours. I might use that next time, But yeah, especially because I've just finished the Hawkesbury.
Yeah, that's right. And just quickly to touch on that, how was your experience up on the Hawkesbury?
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, there's some big fish in there, and we fished the washers on the second day, and that was unreal.
Who was that with?
Joel Darmody.
Second place. So okay, very cool.
Yeah, he was great to fish with as well. Knew his stuff. So
nice.
It was good time up there when the weather held off, which was even better.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, there you go, mate. All right. Well, mate, I reckon that's a pretty good rundown of everything. So just before we head off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Yeah, just all the Western Australian people that were involved with the fishing and all the accommodation everywhere we stayed. Everyone was really nice over there. And then also just the wife and kids to support us. And the ABT again, they just run such a good show. Yeah. And also yourself and the Brim Project, it's awesome to listen to, especially like for Albany. For me, I didn't have a clue going over there, and I was listening to old podcasts and things, and it gives you a bit of a idea what to set up for. So,
yeah, that's very cool. Thank you. All right, mate, we're going to leave it there. Look, thanks for coming on again. And, mate, I'm sure we're going to have another chat before the end of the year. So we'll hopefully.
Hope so. Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, mate. If you're in the market for a new fishing kayak or looking to make some upgrades to your existing kayak or possibly looking at kayak fishing tournaments, then HWS is the place to go. They have a full range of Hobie kayaks, stock the latest kayak accessories, and are really dialed in when it comes to the best kayak fishing. Set up for the casual fisher and the tournament angler. hws.com.au, online or in-store at Shop 3/638 Pacific Highway, Belmont. James offers free delivery on Hobie kayaks across all Greater Sydney, Central Coast and Hunter. Now, I did have a look on James's website, and what he's got on sale at the moment is a couple of Lynxes, or at least one Lynx. Slight blemishes for a really, really good price. So if you're in the market for one and you're happy to have one that's maybe got a little bit of imperfections in it, then definitely jump on there, give James a call and see what he's got to offer. If you are looking at one of these, some of the accessories I would expect you to consider would be some H-rails down the sides, forward rod holder, H-crate, maybe a sounder, maybe a small sounder. They do fit, but more the downscan sort of setup, just your more basic sounder. And of course, the new Vantage seat bags. All of those put together would be a great package. Even if you're a boater, it gives you a nice option to get out in the water a little bit quicker, a little bit easier, a little bit less fuss. Anyway, hws.com.au. Check it out. Okay, so up next in first place for the non-boaters, dropping 6 fish for 3.92 kilos. I'd like to welcome back to the Brim Fishing Project, Blake Littleow. Welcome back, mate.
Hey, Deethy. Thank you.
Mate, that's a nice little win for you there. You must be cheering.
Yeah, no, stoked to come away with my first ABT win.
Yeah, mate, that's fantastic. I didn't get that it was your first, so congratulations on that. Probably the first of many, we can hope.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
All right. So tell us, did you get down there to have a pre-fish?
I didn't get down there to have a pre-fish during the weeks leading up to it, but I did get the chance to utilise the pre-fish day with one of my mates, Matt DeBoer, who was down there with me.
Right. And how'd that play out for you?
Not so good for myself. I didn't boat illegal fish all day, but Matt seemed to have a field day, but he seemed to just sting them all on the wrong day.
Right. Okay, you're going to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so Matty got a 46 centimetre on probably his first dozen casts of the morning, and then later in the afternoon backed it up with another 43 on a rolling crank.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean, you want to find out where the fish are, but you really don't want those big ones on pre-fish.
No, he sort of left himself a bit short there.
Definitely. Oh, there you go. And so he's on the front of the boat and he's boating kilo plus fish and you're on the back struggling. Is that pretty...
I don't know what was going on. We were fishing the exact same coloured bent minnow. The only difference was his was being the larger model in the 86 and I was using the 76.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Oh, well, at least it gave you a pat for the weekend, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's pretty much all I did all weekend was just throw those bent minnows.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, that's the whole point of the pre-fish. Go out there, see if you can work something out, so you're good to go.
Yeah, that's it.
Very good. All right, day one, who'd you get paired up with and how'd your day go?
Day one, I had Adam Amos, who was one of the East Coast boys that came across for this round.
Yeah.
He obviously he took out the boaters, so it was good to see us both get the win. He was looking forward to it because he's not far from Lake Macquarie, so he was just hoping to qualify for that grand final as well.
Yeah, that's right. He's at Tuggerah Lakes or there, somewhere up there.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And how'd your day go? Did you get a bunch of them?
Adam had a bag pretty early and I'd struggled a fair bit to start with. Like, I probably didn't have a bag till about 9:30, 10 o'clock. But then once we did, it was just a matter of weeding through the smaller fish.
All right. And do you think, was it Like if Adam got them early, was it more that back of the boat, front of the boat sort of set up, like not getting the first cast, or?
No, I don't think it would have been because we were just fishing a big flat. So I think it was just more, I don't know whether it was my retrieve or what might have been doing something differently to how he was, though I was paying attention. Like every now and then I'd stop and I'd watch him do his full cast and retrieve and try and work out and try and imitate exactly what he was doing because he was definitely getting a lot more bites than I was.
Yeah, right. And did you work out anything in that process? Did you work out what he was doing?
He was giving a bit of a shorter jab with the rod for the bent minnows because they were the lures of choice at the day. And then once I'd switched up to that, I started to get a few more fish, which was nice.
Right. How'd you go fish-wise? Did you get a bunch or?
I think I upgraded maybe 3 or 4 times throughout the day. Nothing super big. Like I think in the end I had a 34 tip, 32 tip and a 31 tip for my bag on day one.
Yeah, okay.
But
where'd that have you overnight?
I was sitting in third overnight, only about 200 or 300 grams behind first place.
Okay, so definitely right in contention there.
Yeah, definitely within striking distance.
Very good. What sort of structure did you fish on the day one?
Day one was just big flats. Big flats being from WA, I've never really seen anyone fish that sort of area. Like it's just open in the inlet. And I sort of said to Adam that morning when we were heading out, and I was like, I've never really seen anyone fish over here. But I mean, you obviously got a plan to come here, and that's what you were getting your fish at yesterday. So let's have a crack at it. And I mean, it worked.
Definitely. In that scenario, what sort of leaders were you running?
I was running a 4-pound fluoro just on the Daiwa in-feet rod that I was using.
Yeah, nice.
It's quite clear in that sort of like inlet water. It's quite salty, so it's pretty clear, and you just want to try and give yourself the best chance possible.
Yeah. And over the weed flats, were you able to see the fish come up and belting it, or was it how'd that look?
Yeah, so they were sort of hiding in like the cockleweed on the flats. So once you'd give it a few twitches and you can get them to follow it, quite a lot of time, if you couldn't get them to commit, then one of us would like swap it out with like a brim prawn or something, try and switch bait it.
Yeah.
But I didn't get any fish on the switch bait. I think Adam did it a few times and got himself a few fish, but I don't know if there was any upgrades.
Yeah, okay. It's definitely a fun way to go if you can get it together.
Yeah, it's quite exciting to see the old switch bait work.
Yeah, definitely. So you ended up in third overnight. Who'd you get paired up with this on the Sunday, and how was your day?
On Sunday, I had Joseph Gardner. So he's obviously one of the most well-known bream anglers in WA at the moment. I haven't fished with Joey for a long time, so it was good to be able to fish with him again. He had a plan to go right upriver to the Calgon, so we did that. We started at a few flats downstream in the morning. I think I had a bag pretty early, which was nice and sort of calmed the nerves a bit. And then we just kept pressing on and on upriver.
Right. Okay. Throughout the day, did you get fish all day, or was it a slog?
Yeah, so it was quite a lot of fish all day. It was quite random. Like a lot of the fish were sitting at the top of the water table, so I was just fishing the bent minnows pretty much all day, which was nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you fish bent minnows pretty much all weekend. That's got to be a great experience. I don't know, a good weekend good weekends fishing, I guess.
Yeah, Albany can be quite like that. Albany, you can have an all-day surface bite. So by being there and fishing it a few times, I know that that's quite often the case. So I always had one ready and tied up, ready to go.
Fair enough. All right. So you ended up bringing back in your 3.92 for your 6 fish. Did you miss any, or did you drop any fish that you went, oh, that's going to hurt me?
During the comp, no, which was always nice and pleasant. Everything that I hooked, I pretty much stayed connected to. I lost one fish on the pre-fish, but pre-fish doesn't count in my eyes. It's just trying to work out where the fish are. So I didn't feel too disheartened about that, besides the fact it took off with a bent minnow. But
yeah, ouch. Yep.
But apart from that, it was pretty much every fish I hooked at the comp, I stayed connected to, which was nice.
Yeah. When you were travelling up the Calgon, what sort of structure were you hitting?
All sorts of stuff. There was a couple of upstream flats looking at like all the like snaggy laydown sort of areas. There's a couple of like natural rock bars and stuff upstream that we were targeting.
Okay.
There's quite a lot of stuff.
And throughout all that, was there any standouts or anything that you want to go back and fish?
Yeah, so there's the one flat where I got my one kicker fish on day 2, which was a 42 centimetre to the tip. They went like 1.22 or something like that, I believe.
Yeah, that's a solid fish.
Yeah, no, I was pretty happy with that. To get that on a bent minnow at 12:30 in the afternoon, it's quite difficult or quite different.
Absolutely. And that was obviously the winning fish.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Is there anything else that we need to cover in terms of the fishing?
Not particularly, no. I think that's pretty much all of it.
Okay, cool. All right. So for first place over there, what'd you get to take home?
I got a really good Daiwa pack. So I got a lot of hard bodies, lots of soft plastics, some G-codes, some leader.
Yeah,
and it's all stuff that you're going to fish. Like quite a lot of the time I've seen prize packs and comps where you look at it and you go, they've just given us all the seconds and stuff that they probably can't sell at the time. But this Daiwa pack, I'd probably fish every single one that's in it. So it's good to see.
Yeah, it's definitely been the common theme among all the anglers that have received one, that it's a really good pack. I think going to use it all. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, it's good.
You also would have got a spot in the final, I'd imagine.
I did, yep. So I'm stoked for that. So I booked my flights last week to fly into Sydney and then head up to Lake Macquarie, I believe it is, for the grand final this year.
Yeah, exactly. Well, mate, there's a lot of information on Lake Macquarie, so heaps to have a look at.
Yeah, I've been listening to him.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. So the last thing, mate, before we head off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just thanks to the ABT crew for bringing the comps over to WA. Thanks to the WA tournament angler boys that ran the comp for the weekend. Without them, it's not possible. Thanks to Adam and Joey and Matt DeBoer for taking me out for the days that we fished in Albany, and it was good to see and good to fish with them.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, mate. Well, congratulations, and yeah, hopefully you get a nice result in the grand final at the end of the year.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Very good, mate. All right, thanks again, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
All right, everybody. So now we're in for a treat. We're in for one of the anglers who's been on the show the most, dropping his 10 fish for 4.62 kilos. I have Joseph Gardner, mate. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, Andrew. I was just listening to the Tassie podcast about an hour ago. So,
oh, there you go. How good's that?
Yeah, awesome stuff.
How do you find the experience of listening to it after you've been in the event like that?
I turn off my own interviews, but it's awesome hearing everyone else.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to hear what people did while you're on the water at the same time and what worked and what didn't work. So,
yeah, it's always interesting hearing all the different spots that people go to that you wouldn't even think as well. So it really opens your eyes for future comps.
Exactly. All right, mate. Let's get into it. So did you get out on the Friday for a pre-fish?
Yeah, Mum and I went down on the Thursday, so headed out first light on the Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, went out, wanted to hit the King River, which that's one of my favourite places to fish down in Albany. So went and did that, and it really wasn't happening. I went all the way up the King as far as you can go, and it just wasn't lively at all. So ruled that one out pretty quickly.
Yep.
And then from there, just went over to the Calgary River, fished the channel out the front, which that's where Liam Morrow did all right in the Albany comp not that long ago.
Yep.
Wasn't really happening there either. Couldn't see a lot of fish. And I think it was more maybe the water temp had dropped quite a bit back from that comp to this comp.
Yeah.
So I headed into the Calgary River and just plodded my way up with Mum fishing as we went. Mum lost a big one just opposite the caravan park on a grub. And that's pretty much when I decided that the river's probably where I'm going to end up fishing for the comp.
Okay. All right. So tell us about comp day. So you head out on the Saturday. How did you go and how did you target your fish?
Yeah, so straight over to the river, Calgary River that is. There was only two other boats that sort of went in there to begin with, which was Alex and Kim. They both sort of started on the bridge and at the downriver section. So I stopped right where Mum lost the big one the day before. I had Steve Newborough on the boat. He picked up the first two fish real up shallow on bents. So he got two of his own fish pretty quickly. And then I got one small one not long after down towards Honeymoon Island on a pygmy mussel. And then it was real slow going from there. So grounded out and eventually just hit a bank that went 1, 2, 3 fish all on brim prawns. And then again, it was dead for about 2-3 hours until we finally found some more fish way up the system.
Right. Okay. So you've basically, you hit some edges with brim prawns. So was that the normal sort of technique, like throw it right into the shallows and then rip it back out? Is that how that kind of looked?
Yeah, the brim prawns I haven't used a lot of in Albany. It's not, I use them wherever there's snags, and I've found that they haven't really worked too well for me in the past, but the conditions were completely glass off in the river. And there was one tree just behind Honeymoon that always has some shags over it, cormorants over it. So went straight to that, picked up a fish first cast on that, then a couple metres to the left of it, picked up the second fish. Then a couple metres further to the left of that, I picked up the third fish, and it was just bang, bang, bang. And then I had the 4 fish in the well, and it was real slow from there.
Yeah, okay. It's interesting how comps turn around. Like you can go and fish sometimes for hours and get nothing, and then within 20 minutes you've got your bag and maybe even a fourth.
Yeah, that's right. So that was the 4 fish, so I was still one short. But yeah, we plodded along further upriver towards the rapids, didn't quite make it to the rapids, but when I was up there were fish suspending on the top of the water column all the way through the system, which I think Malakuta is probably the only other system that fish typically seem to do that. When it's glass off, they'll just rise right up to the top of the system and sort of just sit right under the water column. Even if it's 3 metres deep, they're right up the top and you can see them. Couldn't get any of those fish to bite on that day. Then a little bit of wind picked up and I managed to get one in the last 20, 30 minutes on a Z-Man grub, and that was my 5. So five bites, 5 fish.
Wow. All right. And where'd that leave you on day 1?
So that led me into 4th, just behind Adam, and then there was Cromo and obviously Daly up top as well.
Yeah, nice. So still within striking distance, but yeah, tough day for you. Normally you're getting cricket scores over there.
Yeah, it was real tough bite. I think just the glass off and clear skies and the moon that they had, fairly full moon, it was, yeah, just really, really tough bite.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, let's go around to day 2 and tell us how day 2 played out. I take it as a bit of a different day.
Yeah, so did pretty much the similar sort of thing, but I did tie on a bent to start with. And Blake Littleoe, who I fished with on day 2, I told him the day before that we'd just be going up the Calgan and probably throwing bents at these fish all day, especially the ones I saw further up that were sitting right up the top of the column. So we did that. Both of us got fish early. I got an early one on a grub opposite the caravan park. There's a big giant boulder.
Yeah.
That usually holds a lot of fish early, and managed to pick one off that, and then everything else all day was just on bent minnows. And we had an absolute ball throwing them.
Wow. Any day you catch fish on bent minnows is really good. So you basically fish for 6 or 7 hours just on bents on surface?
Pretty much, yeah. That's what they wanted. We would have packs of 20, 30 fish followed up, and you'd see the big ones just sitting under, and you're trying to convince them to eat all the way to the boat, and then it's too late. But Blake, which he'll tell you a story of his big one as well. I'm sure you're getting him on the show. Yeah, his big one on the bent, that was pretty special. And it probably 2 more seconds and I would have cast the Z-Man grub at it, because he said, quick, cast a grub, there's a big one under it.
Yeah, okay. But he tempted it the right way and up it came, I take it?
Oh, just one twitch and the big one just swam up between all these other fish that were looking at it. So it was pretty special.
Right. All right, well, it'll be interesting because I haven't done that interview yet, so it'll be interesting to see how he tells the story.
Yeah.
All right, so basically bent minnows, how were they taking it? Were you like a long pauses, or how are you working it?
Blake and I sort of just switched it up throughout the day, from constant retrieves all the way back to the boat real slow, to fast retrieves, long pauses, even just casting it and letting it just sit on the surface for 10 seconds. Sometimes that would just get a bite before you're even twitching it. It didn't really matter while it was glass off. We could just see these fish scattered everywhere in broad sun, not even on the shady side of the bank. They're all in the sunny side, sitting 10 centimetres below the water.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was. I sort of wish that I threw a bent the day before, but I mean, to get the lead, it really needed to have been a couple kicker fish that I needed. So
definitely. Well, I mean, that was going to be my next question was, would you have changed it up for day 1? But it sounds like you probably would have. Yeah,
definitely. I think bent minnow, I actually gave all of my bent minnows to Mum on day 1. Mm-hmm. She was out with Cromo and she went out and fished all the racks and did really well there quite a long time ago with Blake O'Grady. And yeah, wanted to do the same thing. So I gave her all my bents and then said, no, give them back here for day 2.
Fair enough. Did you lose any fish over the couple of days? Did you lose anything that hurt you?
None that I hooked. definitely saw enough that followed the lure that would have made a difference. But yeah, none that I hooked.
Okay, that's interesting. And one more thing or two more things before we move off the fishing. Were you running any scent for the weekend?
Only so I did throw a grub a little bit. So that last fish I got on day one, I was throwing the mullet pro. What is it?
Procure?
Yeah, Procure, mullet Procure on that. And that was just a grub on a 1/12 size 4 hook. We had a little bit of wind chop come up, and they've it's interesting that the minute there was any wind chop, all those fish that were sitting on the top, they all just lowered back straight down. They just weren't on the top anymore.
Wow. I mean, maybe that's vision. Maybe while it's clear, they can see what's going on. As soon as you get the chop, they can't see any predators from above.
Yeah, I think they just shoot straight back down. I've seen it happen in Malakuta when I was up with you. You came out of that creek on that second day. I went into that creek and they were doing it all in there with the glass off. And then I've seen it in Mandurah as well in some of the canals where they'll pop up middle of the canal in some of the little finger arms and do it when it's only glass off.
Yeah, okay. Wow. All right. For the weekend, like it's a pretty tame system from what I hear. Like what we running for lines and leaders.
Yeah, so 6 pound with the bend. Grub was 4 pound, mussel was 4 pound. Usually you get away with 4 pound. Albany brim have a real unique fighting style. They sort of aggressively shake their head, rattle their head constantly until they get to the boat. They don't really take big runs. And they do that when they get over, say, 35 centimetres. So usually you know when it's a big one because it won't do much. It'll just sit there rattling its head and you can feel it.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, you can get away with some pretty light lines. There isn't a lot for them to bust you off.
Oh, fair enough. All right. Well, in any case, that was enough to bring you back in third place. What did you get to take home?
Nothing for third, unfortunately. Yeah, we'll leave that for all the East Coasters to take away the money from WA again.
Fair enough.
No, we had the 10 boats, so 20 anglers fishing, so kept it pretty tight at the top. So it's still worthwhile for those two.
Yeah, fair enough. They did get good payouts, and I did think that they were decent payouts for a relatively small field.
Yeah, I will say though, I did get a big pack of lures from Parla, so some really good stuff in there. Crush City stuff that I'll actually probably use, to be honest. So there's a bunch of that, and then I know all of the non-boater packs, they looked incredible, the amount of stuff that ABT gets on board for them.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, mate. So one more thing before we head off. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to for this one?
Yeah, probably Mum for giving me back my bent minnows for day 2, to be honest. So that really helped out. But no, Steve Newborough and Blake, they were awesome to have on the boat. So ABT's got that real unique thing about it where you get to fish with some people that you probably wouldn't fish with before. I mean, I've known Blake for a long time, so I've fished with him before. But Steve, it was awesome having him on the boat. Both of us probably learnt stuff, and that's what I love about the ABT format as well, is you're always learning.
Very good. All right, Joey, we're going to leave it there, mate. That is fantastic, mate. Good to have you on the show again. Yeah, hopefully we get to see you after the next one, which is, I think, a kayak round coming up for you guys.
Yeah, we got kayak round in 4 weeks, I think, 3 weeks. So that's down on the Blackwood. We've got a couple East Coasters coming over for that, I see on the list as well. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see who takes the money home.
That's it. Thanks, Andrew.
All right. Thank you, mate. Okay, so next up in second position, I have the current ABT champion in Mark Crompton, dropping 10 fish for 5.3 kilos. I'd like to welcome him back to the show. Welcome back, Mark.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Mate, good to be having a chat.
Yeah. No, I'm always happy to have a chat with you, Deethy. You know that.
Yeah, definitely. So, mate, you made the big trek across the country and, mate, come up with a pretty tidy little result.
Yeah, look, if you sort of thought that you weren't going to go over there just for Angler of the Year points and you're only lying to yourself, most definitely that was why I was going. And I've got a good bit of a resume over there now. I've done a few events. I've been sitting in the runner-up position on day 1 over there. I've come forth. I've got a bit of knowledge there now. I'm sort of comfortable and very confident over there now. So was always going. And it's bloody great over there. It's a ripper of a place to go and fish. You're nuts if you're not going.
Yeah, and I think hats off to anyone that makes the big trip over there, whether they drive or whether they fly and borrow a boat. Either way, yeah, it's a big effort.
Oh, look, if you're doing what we're doing and fishing the brim, you haven't done it in every state that you can possibly do it. Like, I'm hanging to get to Adelaide, go down and fish South Australia. You're like, that's somewhere that I've never caught a bream in. So if you're doing it and you think you can do it, you want to do it in every single possible state you can, or everywhere you can get them. You got to, it's one of those ones. You got to do it.
Definitely. All right. So, mate, you went across there. So first, a couple of things. So did you take your boat and did you get a pre-fish?
No, I didn't take my boat. No, I flew over Michael Samet, as most know. I'm good mates with Michael. He's fishing as a non-boater, so he kindly lent me his boat for the period. I got over there for a couple of days earlier. We fished, I think it's Hay River and a couple of areas down around that way a couple of days before, just to get amongst it, get acclimatised, so to speak. And, it was a good thing to do. Learn a little bit doing that, actually, before the actual tournament, even before the pre-fish day at the actual comp. So that was a bit of fun. The pre-fish on the actual event, I think that's what sealed the deal. I think I had a good idea on game plan. So, so going back to the Hay River, fished up the Hay River, got right up inside there. That's landlocked. The fish are really doughy when it gets landlocked and you got no rain. They've had bugger all rain over there for quite a while. So I figured the fish upriver are going to be slow if they're happy to bite. They really want that fresh water, I think. So when you get systems that are not getting rain or not getting as much fresh, I'm always down the front. I won't waste my time up the river. So that was always my game plan, was to go into the King, go into the Calgon, have a look, see what's there, and then probably scratch them off my list and then look around the areas that I'm most comfortable with. So hence why we stayed down the front pretty much the whole of it.
Oh, man. Okay, all right. So I gave you a bit of insight, I guess, is the key from the pre-fish, which is exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, it just confirmed my thoughts. It confirmed, history's past. That's what happens when you get the drought, or it's those black brim still like that bit of fresh. I think they need. I don't know. I'm no scientist. I've got no idea, but I think they need that bit of fresh. If they're not getting it, then they'll just go down to where they get good bait and good current and a bit of flow and structure, and they'll hold in those shadows and chase the bait.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So rolling around onto the Saturday, how was your day and how'd you go about catching them?
Yeah, mate, you don't want to be that guy that sort of is at the end of the event, oh, yeah, I caught a stack of fish. And I never like to do that, because I know how it feels on the opposite end when you've sort of done an event and you've struggled and then you hear someone else that's absolutely boned them. But in saying that, truth be told, that's sort of how it was. I didn't have a hard time bagging out. I caught a lot of fish, and it was just trying to cotton onto the size, that better size. I got wiped out a few times in the racks, in the mornings, dropped those better fish, and then once I'd had a bag reasonably early, I thought, oh, well, no one's really fishing the racks. I'm going to leave them. I went and sussed out the King. I went and sussed out the Calgon. Caught a stack of fish in there and those as well, but just no size. But I just thought, well, and towards the end of the day, I'll race back out the racks to see what goes on at the end of the day in the deeper zones. And I actually found them there in the deeper zones at the end of the day. So that was a little bit of, I like to do, if I've got a bag, truth be told, mate, I'm coming back and I'm going, everyone's just boned them. It's not even been an issue, and I've got a pretty crap bag. I'll be going no good. I might be eighths or somewhere there. And then when I got back and realised memory banks kick in a bit too. It's been a while since I've been over here. I forgot the size of the bags. And also just come back from Tassie where if you haven't got 5.5 kilo, forget about it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, managed a little bit of pre-fish at the end of the day on day one, right? And that sort of set up my day for the end of day two, and that worked as well. So
right. And like in terms of you caught a bunch of fish, what were they eating?
I reckon most of my fish on day one all come to, I would say, 95% on sprats, or between sprats to duros to the old smash baits. I mix through the whole lot of them because it all depends on my depth and my retrieve, how I work them. I don't know. The sprats work pretty good, but I'd say, I don't know. Honestly, I wasn't really doing the math on it. Mate, I've got to be honest, like on day one, I probably put close to 200 fish in the boat, I reckon. I honestly don't know. I'll just sort of flip and change them. There'll be one of the video clips I sent over to Morgo, and I was literally teabagging them over the side of the boat.
Right.
Literally, dropping it out the side of the boat, and the fish were just coming in and eating it. It was like a pond, like you're feeding fish bread at the bloody marinas. It was exactly the same. Like they were just on. So yeah, it wasn't difficult, but yeah, again, getting those better sizes.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, if you're teabagging over the side, that's Brett Getty style in a couple of foot of water, just bouncing them up and down. He loves that stuff.
Yeah, it was. Oh, mate, I really don't know. I think you just get those fish into those zones when they're feeding, and like I say, they're competing with each other. There's a lot of fish in there. There's only a minimal amount of bait, but there's heaps of shelter and shadow. So I think because we had nice hot days, the sun was up high, they were more hanging around those shadows in free-flowing water that was transferable water where high bait levels are pushing through. So, yeah, mate, they were just competing with each other. Anything that was there, they were eating it.
Yeah. You said you did a bit of pre-fishing, which set you up for day 2. Would you find anything in particular?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I fished a few of the deeper racks and then went out there, and I was pretty much as soon as we come up to them, we sort of found a couple, and then they were just belting the grubs a bit more than anything. So grubs were definitely the favour in the deeper water, and just sort of slow rolling grubs through the deeper racks on day 2 at the end of the day. And I truth be told, I went out there a bit late because I was really panicking about getting back on time. I think I rolled 3 fish out. They were all sort of 2 or 3 that were good upgrades right at the end of the day. So, yeah, I probably should have done that a bit earlier.
Yeah, maybe.
Might have been the difference. So I dropped 2 or 3 good fish on day 2 that were, like, I think I only missed out 150 grams or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, very
If
cool.
I got any one of those fish and I would have won it quite easily. But
yeah,
frustration. That's hindsight. That when you, mate, I'm pretty big. If I drop a good fish in a tournament now, I don't get frustrated with it or shout and scream and carry on too much. More if I've been a poor angler or done the wrong thing and it's been my fault, then I think I should know better than that. And probably one of the clips that Morgo put up will show exactly that, because there was one where I just poor boat control and drove the boat into the row of the boat. I think the fish actually towed the boat across into the rack. It's only a tinny.
All right.
And that was my fault. So ultimately, I probably didn't deserve the win. So
yeah, okay, is what it is. Hey, but look, the good thing about day 1 is you did pick up some tips for day 2. Like sometimes the pre-fish in the back of the day is really helpful. So yeah, definitely. I think it doesn't matter now. Any ABT that I'm doing, for me, and it proved that this event, right, I think there was only 3 of us that bagged out 10 fish. Any ABT I fish, the most important thing every single time is just get your bag. Doesn't matter how big it is. Once you got your bag, then you sort of go from there. And yeah, that's definitely always pays dividends in WA. Yeah, okay.
You get your bag, you're sort of sorted.
Yeah, well, that's what I looked at. I mean, it was a small comp. I mean, there was only 4 full bags, so I just had a quick look then.
It was 4, was it?
Yeah, but you see, you got like obviously a huge number of fish. Do you kind of include legals in that, or just legals, or is it just everything?
Oh, no, that was pretty much everything. I would say 70% of them would have been legals.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, first day would have been probably a few more fish on the first day. I don't know. Like I was talking to John Fitzy. Anyway, he was my non-boater. And I'm like, day 1, I don't know how many fish were actually caught, but you're at least sort of catching one, I'll say at least one every 2 minutes, at least. So as you're going on through the day, weren't many periods where you'd go, if you're going for 3 or 4 minutes without catching a fish, there's something wrong, shift a bit.
Right, okay.
And then you're back on them again. So and that was literally how the day was.
Yeah, good thing for brim fishers that are listening that may be planning a holiday. That sounds like pretty cool fishing to me.
Oh, mate, it's cool. Well, every time I've gone down there, I fish how I fish back here, and it is not difficult. Like, there's a lot of fish. I mean, yeah, you're going to get a lot of little ones, but at the same time, yeah, I remember a few old systems over here when we first started cottoning on to fishing and fishing with plastics, and I don't think they'd seen them too much, and you really had a good time, catching your 100, 150 fish because they were just brain dead to it. They had no idea what a lure was. Feels like there's a little bit of that still over there. I mean, you only sort of got 30 or 40 guys over there that are doing this.
That's right.
It's a big state. It's a lot of water. There's a lot of places. It's a minimal amount of anglers doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
So those fish are not feeling the pressure. I don't liken it nearly. You've probably nearly got that amount of anglers down in Tassie.
Yeah, okay. Well, like you said, there's a lot of systems. There's not a lot that they necessarily fish comps on because you need certain things to fish a comp, but there's a lot of water over there to fish.
Yeah, there is. And he's still got a heavy presence from the netters over there. I think there's 5 or 6 mobs doing the netting just in Albany. So it gets thrashed. So, and that was another thing for me with the racks. I'm like, well, going into the racks, they've got the comfort, you can't net that joint.
Yeah, that's right.
Can't net in there. So,
yeah, very good.
So I definitely played a safe card with it, but turned out to be a bit better than I predicted. So
very good. All right, tell us about day 2, mate. How did they play out?
Yeah, mate, I think it was overnight. I was like, well, once I sort of felt what everybody else was doing and realised how good a bag I had on day 1, which I was firmly thinking was actually pretty average, I realised the top of the river was not the game plan at all. You got some of the best anglers in WA going up there and only getting 1 or 2 good fish out of all the anglers that went up there. And from what I'd sort of heard, that wasn't even, it was a bit of a lucky card too, catching those better fish. The rest of them were all shut down. I just went, well, I never do. I never go and try and catch other people's fish. So I thought my game plan was set anyway. I'll just go and grind out through the racks, do what I was doing and just capitalise on getting a bag. Like when you're in that position too, and I suppose it rung true because day 1 leader Callum didn't even get his bag. So I was just like, all I got to do is just get a bag and I should hold my position. At the end of the day, it wasn't winning. You want to win and you want to maximise your AOI points, but at the same time, top 3 is going to really bolster me anyway. So I was stoked with how it panned out. So
how'd you go? Did you end up getting them back in the racks on grubs in the deeper water or?
Yeah, so I actually, day 2, rolled on to top water a fair bit more aggressively feeding.
Right.
I found in the racks, glass out conditions, top water is on. Like you don't need that wind in the racks.
Yep.
The glass out was, as soon as I saw the glass out, I was like, oh, I know everyone's struggling now. This is bloody awesome. So punched them into the racks and the top water was not difficult at all. Like I think there was probably a period, I know on day 1, I think sort of had 50 casts of 50 fish or something along those. Like it was nuts. Like,
that's crazy.
But on day 2, you were sort of, I think it was nearly every cast on the surface. You were getting at least interest. A good followed a swirl and then a hookup. The more hookups you got, the better it got because the fish just turned them right on. You're able to unhook the fish, just drop them gently back in under the rack next to the boat and cast a good 20 or 30 metres away, and the fish just down the paddock were still untouched and going, oh, that last fish just got something to eat,
Yeah.
So they were into it. That was good.
Fair enough.
And it was both of us too. John was on, we were both into it. So it wasn't difficult fishing, mate. We were on. It was good.
Fair enough. And were they taking bents? Is that what you're throwing?
Yeah, no, I had the slippery dog was probably the one that I started on bents. Always got the $30 lure ringing through your head in a set of racks. So I thought, and then on top of that, John had from one of his Daiwa packs from Tassie, he goes, oh, what about this one? Pulls out a slippery dog. And I said, you know what? That's the one I'm supposed to be using. So let's roll it out there. And he chucked out and it just started cracking him. So I'm like, righto, I'm doing it all wrong.
Yeah.
Ripped off the bent, stuck on the slippery dog, and that was the lure.
Yeah.
That far out fished the bent.
Wow.
So that was the one.
That's it. And they come with a decent set of stingers on them, which seem
They do. And every fish was coming in on the stingers too.
Yeah.
Every fish was coming in on the stingers. So
yeah, and they hold well.
Yeah, they do. That was the key, I think, on day 2. And then towards the end of the day, again, going on the grubs and going out on the outside racks on the motor oil and I can't remember the colour. There's a couple of new colours. One of them's olive oil, I think it is, olive oil flour, and I think caramel candy. But when you're fishing grubs like that, I don't know that it matters what colour you're running, truth be told.
No, it's hard to say, hey.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that was definitely turning the better fish per capita
Yeah, okay.
out wide off those deeper racks where sun had got high by the end of the day. There was no wind. It was nice and calm. And then those fish that were probably out in deeper water out wide had sort of started to want the shelter as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, hindsight, if I give myself another hour on those deeper racks, might have been a different story.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, the good thing is, yeah, you got a bunch of fish and, yeah, got a good result in the end.
Yeah, bloody happy.
All right. A couple more things on the fishing. Lines and leaders in general over there and jig heads for your grubs.
Yeah, jig heads 1/16 in the, what do you call them, the bait junkie. I think size 2 is doing it for me the most over there. You go to size 1 sometimes because you feel a little bit stronger with the strength of the hook, but at the same time, I think the finicky sort of tentative bite required that size 2. It doesn't matter how hard you go with bait junkie jig heads, the BKK hook, they just do not straighten. So you can ram the light gauge into hooks and fish them like the old heavy gauge hooks that we used to use. So, yeah, I always go the lighter the better for me. So, and then line, I was going to 6 pound J-braid finesse leader and just the 0.6 expedition for line. That's it. So nothing extreme. Like the racks over there aren't. I actually found that the cockleweed over there had more shell, crusty, sharp stuff on it than the racks did.
Okay, that can be a surprise.
Yeah, the racks seem to have a bit more moss growing on them, to be honest. But the cockleweed over there was the sharp stuff.
Yeah, so they just had some moss so your line didn't get chafed, so that was kind of nice.
Yeah, it didn't. I mean, I broke a couple fish off, but I don't think I broke them off because of hitting a rack. I broke them off because the line had a nick from the cockleweed.
Okay.
That was what I was finding.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, in any case, mate, that was enough to bring you back in second place, get some awesome Angler of the Year points. What did you get to take home for second place in a relatively small comp? So,
yeah, $700. So paying for me flights and a couple of dinners and drinks. So it was handy, that wasn't too bad. But like, it's always the same though. It wouldn't matter which tournament you won in this country. You're not doing it for the money. It's even winning a boat last year wouldn't cover all my costs for the last 10, 15 years. No
fair enough.
So it's one of those things, labour of love, mate.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. And one last thing, mate, before we head off, who do you want to give a shout out to?
All the boys at Daiwa have been pretty bloody good this year, I've got to be honest, Dave, and the crew out there. The products that they're developing and their willingness to be open to their pro staff about how things are working and what they recommend to be brought forward to the market and then producing it is phenomenal. I've said it 1,000 times, it's really easy to be involved with a company that makes it really easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guys at Daiwa are great. And then on top of that, they back our sport. No brainer. I've always said that. You back us, I'll back you. So, yeah, obviously all my support from the legends at Power Pole out there in the States. I missed my power poles heavily. I even actually nearly went to the stage of just having a brick on the back of the boat on a 2-metre rope on the back of the tinny.
Yep.
That would have made a hell of a difference, I think, in the backs if it started to get a bit windy, but we were lucky it classed out on day 2. But fishing those racks without a power pole, it's probably more important to have the power pole than the electric motor, to be honest, if it's windy. So missed that. But, yeah, huge shout out to them. And then obviously Adam at fishing.com, always great supporter. Yeah, mate, outside of that, it's my wife, and then my little boy. Well, while I was away, this trip, that he wasn't used to not coming on the trips, and he's like,
yeah,
it was good to see him last night when I got home. But yeah, a massive shout out to Danny. But then on top of that, Michael Samet for lending me his boat and just being the legend he is while we were running around. No shortage of laughter. Literally, mate, you wake up in the morning, open the bedroom door, and the laugh starts.
Right.
You know what I mean?
How good is that?
Yeah, we have a bloody great time. And, yeah, there was another stellar trip with him. And then, also while I was away, Rossi and Sean Egan, we're always on the phone and chatting and talking. They were out at St George's Basin fishing the East Coast round. and they managed a runner-up position as well, so that was good. But it's always good to be able to bounce off your mates, and it's a really good part of it. We have a great time.
Fair enough. All right, mate. Well, that's brilliant, mate. Thanks again for coming on. Mate, I will see you at the Open.
No dramas. You're coming along, are you? That'll be fun.
I'm coming to wave at you from the shore, mate.
Righto. See you there.
All right. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, bye.
All right. Yeah, so our latest sponsor on board is Podium Marine Wraps. So if you're looking to spruce up your old boat or maybe get your new boat wrapped with your tournament decals or kayak or whatever, then it's definitely worth getting in touch with Corey to see what he's got to offer. A couple of things that I've seen lately is I've seen him do up some old boats, even just in plain colours with a wrap, and make them look really shiny and new. So definitely an option if you've got a boat that may be a little bit tired. I also, for those of you who are in the Sydney area, just keep an eye out for my van. I just got the back window done with a Brim Fishing Project podcast, which I'm podcast back window. So I'm pretty excited about that and very, very happy with it. So in any case, if you're looking to get your boat wrapped, get in touch with Corey. He'll do some designs for you, and hopefully you can get your boat looking really, really smart. Check it out, podiummarinerwraps.com.au. All right, and up next in first place, we have the winner of this round down in Albany, dropping 10 fish for 5.45 kilos. I have Adam Amos. Welcome to the show, mate.
Hey, thanks for having me, Andrew.
No worries, mate. You must be very excited to take out a win and get the grand final qualification and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, over the moon, mate. Yeah, it was a lot riding on it to get over there and get everything sorted out and just go and fish somewhere where I've totally foreign to me. So, yeah, come away with the win and the big brim, yeah, pretty stoked with that.
Absolutely. And so you've never been there. You used somebody else's boat. You had to get a ride, mate. There was a lot that went into just making this happen.
Yeah, there was. There's just a lot of unknowns, just like carrying rods over. Are they too long when they're going to put them on the plane? Are they going to get broken? All that sort of stuff was, it was just in my head the whole time. But the wife, Tracy, was unreal. She said, yeah, you'll be right. Because I know WA. I've had 10 years over there. So, yeah, that sort of wasn't too bad. But, yeah, just getting there and finally meeting Dids and Rick from the two people that, helped me out and said, yeah, it'll be right. We've got you sorted.
How good is that? How good is that? All right. I didn't ask this before the thing, is that your first win?
Yes, that's the first boater that I've ever done. I did a non-boater, I don't know, way back on Lake Macquarie just to go for riding bass boat. I don't know both days, but just to get a feel of what everyone was doing. Yeah, so first go that boating, yeah.
Right, so first boat around and first win. So you're 1 for 1.
Yeah. What do they say? One shot, 1 kill or something like that.
How good is that? How good is that? All right. Let's get round to pre-fishing and all that sort of stuff. How did you go? Did you get out to have a fish over there before you went out on the Saturday?
Yeah, we did. So we were staying, Dids and myself were staying at the Cowgan River Caravan Park, and they've actually got a little ramp there. So we put in there and went out into the main system with a plan of just getting tracks onto the sounder so I didn't run aground and sort of knew where I could get around, because there's a few channels up the back of the system. We poked our head into the King River, and I got a couple of small ones on surface lures using the bent minnow. And then, the water there wasn't really enough water for me to push up and around the corner and where other people can get their smaller boats in there. I thought, we'll get out of here for now, and because the water was still coming in, and then just check out a few other spots. From there, we sort of come down the system a bit and went into the deep oyster racks just to see if there's anything sort of floating around underneath having a chew like they do over here in the east. And, we're just going through herring and all sorts of bycatch. So we got out of there pretty quick. And then I just said to him, what's on that far side there? Like it looks pretty similar to home. And as we went over there, I started fishing, I'd say probably 6 foot. And it's got I call it eelgrass. It's similar to what's out the front of Pittwater on the car park there. Yeah, I started there and started getting a few good hits, like 2 or 3 casts in, and then rolled over a few really good fish. And I thought, this is not too bad. And then ploughed through probably half a dozen or so, and then just kept moving really quickly because I didn't want to sting them because I didn't have any spots.
So basically the purpose of it for you was to just explore the area and try and find out where the fish were.
Yeah, that was pretty much the goal, yeah. And get tracks as well to make sure I wasn't going to hit anything.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. And in terms of lures and stuff, did you work out any sort of patterns on pre-fish, or did you work it out during the comp?
No, it was pretty much pre-fish for me. I went through everything because over here I'm affiliated with Bait Shop Tukley he sprays up his own sort of lures, and I did go in and ask for a few just different sort of colours, something that they haven't seen, get away from the Sujis and all that sort of stuff. I rolled them through and I was just ploughing through small ones like I do here in Tuggerah Lake. So I thought, it's not going to work. So I'll park that for a maybe. And we even went back over to the marina and I used the FLT grubs there in the motor oil, put plenty of sauce on them just to juice them up. And I got a few good bream out of there, but they weren't massive. And those sort of areas, they can be pretty cagey, those sort of fish. It was very similar to little pockets of Sydney Harbour and places like that, doing the same thing, 1/12 jig head, number 2. I got a good tarwine. I reckon he would have been about 600 grammer. And I thought, well, they count. So it gave me a good fight too. I thought it might have been a snapper, but yeah. And then I just thought, no, I'm not really feeling that. So from there, the day was getting pretty long by then. We went in over the floating racks, the shallow ones over the other side of that bay that I spent the whole comp in. But then we went up into the Cowgan for a look. And yeah, I just didn't feel it. To me, it was a little bit stagnant. There wasn't a great deal of flow because their tides are really odd to follow. Like we're spoiled here because we just move an hour every day roughly. So, and two lows. But I think the second day tide was 20 minutes earlier. And I'm thinking, how does that work?
Yeah, you're right, because I just did the tides before talking to you, and I've checked them and double checked them. I've gone, it's the wrong way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
There you go. Never mind. All right, let's roll around into comp day. Yeah, tell us how you went. Who'd you get paired up with, and how was your day?
I got Blake Lidlow, who's a Perth local. Yeah, really good. When we got paired up the night before, I just had a really good feeling because I don't know, you get, strangers on your boat and they want to do their thing, and obviously they're competing too. So, and being a fresh boater, I thought, I hope this is going to work out all right. And I just said, look, we're going I've got some really good fish. I'm hoping they hold up for the 2 days, but I'm going all out first day. It's going to be bent minnows pretty much. I've tried all the other surface lures. A couple of them worked okay, and he just grinned from ear to ear. He goes, oh, that's great, because I think he had a really good day in his pre-fish too. His actual boater was really good. So they were on some good fish, which I think was near where we were too. So he was pretty happy with it as well.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's a good start, especially if you get on with your non-boater or boater.
Yeah, we had a ball. We had a great day. He's sort of in the same sort of industry as me work-wise. So, it's just the chat was unreal. It's good. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So how'd your fish come? How'd that work out?
Pretty much a repeat of the pre-fish day. As soon as I went into those flats, I'm just crossing my fingers, crossing everything I had. I thought, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Is it going to be there? And it was pretty much on straight away, like 2 or 3 casts in. I think Blake got a couple as well. But yeah, it was, I think they started out in the high 20 tippers. So they were nearly in the 30 models. I thought, I just want to get my bag. I just want to get 5 fish, and then, because I didn't have anywhere to run and gun to. I didn't know if there's a big brim hiding on that channel marker or under the oyster harvest boat or whatever. I just thought I'll just keep doing that. So, yeah, Blake was a little bit behind for a little while. He had a few upgrades to go, but we got him there in the end. But, yeah, we cycled through, it would have been well over 50 fish. The place is so, like Cromo said at the interviews and that, the place is full of fish. The bycatch was unreal. Yeah, it was just, you're seeing banjo rays swimming under you and all sorts of stuff going on everywhere. It was really good.
Yeah, very good. So did they start off on the bents? Is that how you were getting them in the beginning?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. The only thing I did when it slowed down, I'd just start to switch bait them and throw the bent out, park it, get one interested, and if it wasn't going to bite, then I'd just bring it in really quickly and then just throw an aqua or an FLT grub or a Berkeley gulp shrimp, just lightly weighted, and just float them down into little sand pockets and in and around cockle and all that classic stuff that we're used to over here over east. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. That's very cool, mate. I want to dive into that if we can.
Yeah, sure.
So basically, you throw the bent minnow out,
Yep.
and you're just trying to get a fish excited or sight it. Like if you know where it is, that's half the battle.
Yeah.
Then you rip that lure back in, and then throw out some sort of white, lightly weighted plastic, and just waft it down in their face.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly how it went. It's sight casting, because if you can draw them in close enough to see, and then they'll just park there, they'll just sit and go, oh, where did that go? You know, it's like they're still sort of looking around, and then they just see something a little bit different, especially if you're switching into bio baits, because they're just like bait to the fish. They just go, oh, yeah, that's what I want. So, yeah, and that was working. I got a few good upgrades doing that. Yeah, it was straight back to bent minnows again, and I'm just cycling between the two for a lot of the time.
Okay. And of the lures you picked, you had a FLT grub and a gulp shrimp, I think, and a aqua. That one that I wasn't aware of. What's the FLT grub? I don't know what that is.
The FLT grub it's very similar to the Z-Man grub. Little bit smaller in profile, and I think the tail's a little bit longer. I use both, but when they first got sent over to me to try out, they just, like last year's team comps and that were just, I don't know, they just eat them. They've eaten them to the point where they're crushing the jig head leads and everything like that. It's just, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they almost bite them like they're bait. I don't know what it is, but yeah, they work. So I'm definitely, yeah.
Oh, very good. All right. So you had a bag of around that 30s mark.
Yep.
How did you go about upgrading, and did they come through the whole day? How'd that look?
Yeah, pretty much came through the whole day. Everything it was almost like they were just straight out of the same mould. They were all, you know, go, another 28 or another 29, you know, you sort of just think, you're blunting me hooks, you know. Now, yeah, so yeah, we just slow upgrades basically all day. I didn't bother using, I was culling as I was going, but I didn't use the scales or anything like that. I just used the balance beam. I just found it was a little bit quicker. Just because they were so small, and half the time the balance beam had hardly even tipped one way, and you'd sort of give it a shake to try and settle it. But yeah.
Yeah, okay. Right. Well, there you go. And was there any big fish in the bag, or are they all about the same? Or
not really. I think my best was probably, I don't know, maybe a 35, and I think Blake was about the same, 34, 35. The rest of them, being the blacks, like when you grab hold, because I don't catch blacks at all, as in black brim, but they're just strong. Like there's no give in them at all. The meat that's on them, they're just like fit fish, if that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you find, because you're in Central Coast, sort of Lake Macquarie area, that sort of place.
Yeah.
Did you find that the blacks were a little bit more passive once you got them in the boat?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. After cycling through that many fish, I still had, my hands are still pretty sore now from just getting spiked all the time. But yeah, they didn't seem to play up as much. Yeah. Now that you mention it. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So for day one, predominantly you fished bent minnows and twitch-baited. Was there anything else in your arsenal for day one?
Not really. I did a little bits of slow rolling. We're in pretty shallow water, so it was, it was just going to bury into weed. When we went out a little bit wider, so we sort of started from, at a guess, about 6 foot, and then we go right up until the boat was touching the bottom. Yeah, just slow rolled with a Ghost Recon from Bait Shop Tukley. He just does his own sort of spraying and just unique sort of colours, and I give them a bit of a go. I think I got a couple of small fish in there, but it wasn't upgrading, and they weren't really chasing down the slow roll for mine. That was more the surface or the lightly weighted plastic. So I sort of just switched back to it. I thought, you never know, show them something different, but it didn't sort of go that way.
Yeah. And were you, like throughout the day, were you always switch baiting, or did you just do a bit of just plastic work?
No, it was pretty much switch baiting. I did, there was a little bit of plastic work, but they were only blind casting, or if I'd see one and I didn't even have a lure in the water, I'd go, oh, he looks like he might go, like as in upgrade. So I'd have a go at him and get him in be 29. Come on, mate, you got to be in 30 club.
That's exactly it. All right, cool. At the end of day one, where I haven't got the results, so where were you on the table? Were you?
I was in third place, and I was 2.3 kilo for my bag.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. So I remember it was Callum in first place. I'm not sure who was in second.
Cromo. I'm pretty sure Cromo had me by about 20 grams.
All right, let's roll round to day 2. How'd your day 2 play out?
It didn't start real good. I was overthinking things, as I do. Not much sleep. Get to the ramp and I forgot the remote for the electric. And I'd been on it for 2 days. I didn't want to go to foot pedal. We had it. It said, get in the car, let's go, we'll go. So we just went at sensible pace back to the caravan park, grabbed it and came back. And, I was head down in shame. It was a bit embarrassing, actually. Everyone's waiting for us. But it was all good. Everyone was pretty good about it. So, and, I was just apologetic to Steve, my non-boater, and I said, mate, sorry about this. This is embarrassing, rah-rah. And everyone's having a bit of a laugh. They're pretty good people over there. They don't mind. So,
there you go.
Yeah, so basically raced back out to exactly where I was. I'd spoken to Steve the night before after day 1 and I said, mate, this is what I'm going to do. He said, do you throw bent minnows? I said, well, that's pretty much all I'm doing. I said, I'm hoping it holds up. And it pretty much did. As soon as we went in, I think Steve got a 30 almost straight away. I think he got 2 fish before me. And I thought, well, they're here. And then it just turned into small town for ages. Like we just plowing through tiny fish. When I say tiny, they were barely legal. So I thought, oh, no, don't tell me we've stung them too much. But I did have a little bit of a sneaky plan up my sleeve. I'd sent some bent minnows to Jamie Bowden, who tinkers with painting lures, and you're probably aware of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sending messages backwards and forwards. And I can't get the rattles in the bent minnows anymore. I can't find them anywhere. So I just, in chatting with him, I had a few colours there that I just not happy with, don't like. And I know he does a really good job. So I thought, well, can I send some down and see if you can, this is almost, probably 12 months in the making, not for this actual comp, just something different. And he said, yeah, what would you like? And I said, maybe the phantom pattern, and I like a little bit of a pearl wash over there, just to give you some sort of ideas. Anyway, the dilemma melted and didn't work, and the bent minnows worked. They came back sweet. So I used, because it had the rattle in it, and I wanted to show them something different, especially when I was getting small ones, because I was using the P74, is it? The pink head, the clown face, whatever you call it. So sounded like everyone was using them. Not many people were on those flats where I was, so I didn't even think that mattered, but I used the rattle, and he had one in particular, I only had one of them, and I got a good fish on that, and it wrapped me in cockleweed and snapped me off because I was 6 pound, and they were just starting to climb all over it. I was getting really confident with them. So I put the phantom on. They didn't touch it. They weren't interested. And then I put I call it a rainbow trout sort of pattern. It's got scales on the back of it and everything like that. But, yeah, they were hitting that one pretty good too. I got a couple of upgrades on that, and then I'd go back to the clown again, and then from there it was just so glassy. I thought, we need some wind. Like, what's going on here? So I thought, I might go over to the marina before, because a lot of people, because that's the start point, a lot of people like to come back to there and finish off their last half an hour and hopefully the unicorn's there sort of thing. And we went in there. I think we got a King George whiting, a trevally or skippy as they call them, and a couple of other sort of junk fish or bycatch. And I thought, I'm not feeling it. And then the wind started to puff a little bit, and I went, all right, we've got to go back. I'm just going to put it all out there and see how we go. We both had our bags, so I thought we've got to see if we can grind through and get some more. And I think we're only into it for maybe half an hour, and then the electric died on us just through battery. I went, man, like this is not meant to be. Because I had a small bag. It was probably, I don't know, it would have been under 2 kilos for me 5. It wasn't the day 1 bag, so I'm thinking, I need a miracle here. So, and that's when I was actually standing on the very front of the bow, and if I had a fly rod, I reckon that probably would have worked well. Not that I know how to fly fish, but that's how I was doing it. It was just sand pockets, cockleweed, and just switch baiting. Oh, not switch baiting, just plastics lightly. And that was it for the rest of the day. I was just, because I was plowing through the fish and getting slow sort of upgrades. And then the big fella came. Yeah, I was pretty happy then. The boys in the racks near us just, they heard me. They said, we're wondering what you're doing. You had your electric up. You're on the main motor trying to get it out. No, yeah.
All right. Well, you better run us through what happened there.
Yeah, okay. So for the plastics, pretty much day 2 were 1.0 hidden weight in 1/28 on the old Gulp camo shrimp. I do all right over here. I cycle through a few different colours and that over here, and just plonking them into anywhere that sort of had cockle, because they use it like a house. It's sort of their safe place. And sometimes you don't even see the fish. So I was just plowing away, like I said. I was standing on the very front of the boat, just trying to get that little bit further cast and a little bit further sight into the water. And I've just put a cast after a million of them between two cockle lumps, and the fish just came out. I didn't even see it sort of take it, and then I saw it take off because we're in probably, I don't know, maybe 3 foot of water. It was really clear. And because we caught a few salmon and things over the weekend, I thought, oh, is it? And then it just went 90 degrees. And I thought, wow, that's a bream and it's massive. And then I started getting in my head thinking, we're in a cockle forest. It's not massive like we've got on Lake Mac, but I thought, how are we going to untangle these? By then it's through probably 10, maybe 12 different clumps of cockleweed and zigzagged everywhere on it. And Steve, to his credit, absolute legend, he's going, mate, do you want me to get on the main motor? I said, yeah, if you don't mind. And I'm just sort of talking him through it. Forward, right, left, stop. And then when we find, because I had 4 pound line on, I'm thinking, if this is going to happen, and I've got a good look at it a few times, and I'd untangle it around one and then follow it over to the left and then the right. I probably went on for, mate, a good 10 minutes, I reckon. And then I just said, kill him, mate, neutral. And I've dropped to my knees by then, and I could see it. It was only probably 2 metres from the boat with a big chunk of salad around it or cockleweed around it. I'm just begging it. And after we got it in the net, I said to Steve, do you reckon that fish just felt sorry for me and just went, yeah, okay, I'll just slide into the net? Because he was just sitting there and he could have given a kick and he would have busted me for sure. So we got a bit of weed and the fish. So, and yeah, let a fair scream go. I didn't think it was it's because I've caught some pretty big fish in my time, but I didn't think it was a winning fish. I just thought, like I said on the day, it's going to put me in the running. If other people have had a bad day, then it's a very good fish to have in your bag anyway. So,
and what did it weigh?
It was 1.39 kilos, and it was just a real thick fish. You know how they get really big, like almost snapper heads on them? All the weight was in its head because I think Blake got one. Mine was 42.5 centimetres and Blake's was 42, and I think his was 1.2. So there was a fair bit more condition on mine, and his was a river fish. So, again, I don't know the cycles of the brim there, but, yeah, that's a bit of difference for the same length.
Yeah. I mean, and it's a cracking fish too. Like that's.
Yeah, it was definitely a unicorn. It was a unicorn for sure.
Mate, you were nearly telling me a story about how you lost the fish.
Yeah,
with all the cockleweed and stuff. So
yeah, well, now you think it over and over, and I thought if the electric had been going, it probably wouldn't have been a good thing because you know what it's like. You chop into the cockleweed and then you tangled up in that. You got to pull it up and get the cockleweed off so you can go again. And mate, all the stars aligned. It's just one of them things, I guess. I've been done before at the death and stuff like that, but to get that one was pretty cool.
Oh, how good is that? All right. So was that your last fish for the day, or did you get any more after that?
No, we kept going. Yeah, I think I sat down, had a drink, and tried to stop shaking and that, and gave Steve the front of the boat for a little while because we needed to upgrade for him. I think we got a couple of small ones for him. I think I might have put maybe another 2 or 3 because we got that fish at I don't know. I think it's about 12:30, and I just the experience for doing it for so long. It's not game over. You know, I was chasing down, I think it was Cullum, who was about 900 grams in front after day one. I thought, no, I've got to do more because if he's got, I need another one of these, not being greedy, but yeah, I thought I've got to find another one. So we fished pretty hard, and with no electric, we'd cruise back out over the ground, we'd fished, zigzag along a little bit, then go in on another angle just to get some fresh water into it. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh, there you go. All right. So for the event, what sort of lines and leaders were you running? I think you said 4 in the last fish. Was it that what you used all weekend?
Yeah, I'm just stuck with Sunline. I'm using the V Hard Plus now. That's in 6 pound. It's just a great line. Like I've had, you know what it's like with Hawkesbury's and Sydney Harbours and things like that. Some of the places you can get fish out of, even like the cockleweed in Lake Macquarie and even the heavy weed in Tuggerah Lakes, it just come back, hardly scuffed or anything like that. But yeah, I'm a stickler for that. So it's 6 pound on surface. And I only use a rod length. I try not to go too long, just because it sinks, especially with bents, it'll sink the bent down. So if I want to keep them subsurface for a bit longer. I'll go a rod and a half and then rod tip down and keep them under for the ones that aren't going to come up to the surface.
Right.
And then on the plastics, it's 4 pound pretty much, 4 pound, same, be hard. And then the braid is, I've tried the Expedition now. I've got some of that on and like it. It's pretty good. But I got hold of Adzi because I use him a lot from fishing.com just to pick his brains because I know we all go to him because we're all tournament guys. And it's Goosen, that braid, I think it's the hard or the hard, in the 10 pound because it's so thin. Yeah, and he said, look, mate, that was a while ago now. He said, yeah, give it a run. Like it's saying 10 pound, but it's 0.104 or something like that. So it's good for that long because I need that long cast like we all do just to get it away from that dead spot in front of the boat. And, I haven't had any dramas with it. I change it regularly, but it's a good line. I'm pretty happy with that.
Very good. Very good. All right. Well, is there anything else we needed to cover on the fishing? I think we got pretty much all of it. Is there anything we missed?
No, not really. I don't think so. It's just a great system. It's just full of life. There's just fish everywhere, all sorts of fish too. Like I even said to Dids on pre-fish, I said, mate, if you were going hungry down here and you're a fisher, you're doing something wrong. I caught a giant squid on a bent minnow on pre-fish and stuff like that. So it's a brilliant waterway. It really is. Yeah.
Very good. All right. So for the first place over there, what do you take home?
The first place win was 1,500.
Tidy.
Yeah.
Well, you got something else. You got a couple of other things to take home?
Oh, I certainly did. I was the Unicorn give me a tidy little payout of $500 for the big brim.
Yep.
I got one of those U-Butte ABT trophies.
Yep.
I got the novelty check, which I'm still arguing with Tracy whether that's going up in the lounge room or in the shed.
Above the bed.
Yeah, above the bed. There you go. Oh, I'll try that. I'll say Andrew said above the bed, at least for 12 months.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And you also would have you get a start in the final, I'd imagine.
I do, mate. Yeah, that's probably the big one of the lot. That was one of the key factors of even just going over there because it's on my local. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm going to win it or anything like that, but I'd like to think I'm competitive on there, especially with the field that'll be there. It'll be the best of the best. So it'll be just good to be a part of the whole thing. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. And who would you like to give a shout out to that helped you along your way?
Oh, yeah, bear with me. There's plenty of those. Firstly, it'd be the family. They talked me into it when I was talking myself out of it. And, lots of love to all of them as usual. Rick at Force Lure and Tackle, he was good enough to lend me his boat and just helps me out with any gear. Like he was even saying prior, don't bring your life jacket, don't worry about a net, a ruler, everything that you need when you're travelling. It was all there for me basically. Do you need any of our FLT gear? But under the seats were just chock-a-block full of all that gear anyway. Massive shout out to Dids, Diddy Ballancourt, just for being my chauffeur. Like that was huge. Like to go to a foreign alien sort of place and not really know what's going on. And I'll be pulled up the first night and he'd cook me not a 3-course meal, but it was a good healthy meal. And I'd just taken photos and sending them back home and going, look at this, I'm getting looked after. And yeah, he was unreal. Like he'd do all the I was calling him like a dad while I was there. He was doing all the dad duties and just the banter between us too, because I'd never met the guy. I'd only ever spoken to him over the phone, and he's got some great ideas. They're out there, some of the stuff that he tinkers around in his shed like we all do and comes up with is very interesting. So it was a good trip down and a good trip back. We had a good chat, and so big shout out to him. Bait Shop Tukley, they've always been. It's probably about 10 years now. I go over to Rob and just chat about new stuff, colours, what's working out there. He doesn't get out of the water as much as he used to, so I'm sort of his eyes and ears. And, we work in together and he comes up with all sorts of weird and wonderfuls for me as well. And I don't mind trying them, to be honest. It's good fun.
Yeah.
Big shout out to ABT and the Water Boys for running the comp like they do. Like, it was really good. They were all very accommodating, and a lot of the boys were just coming up, didn't even know me, and like that sort of relaxed me a little bit too, like just to make you feel welcome and everything like that. They run a good show. It was awesome. It was really good. They'll go for the round sponsors, which was Zip Bait, Maui Jim and Daiwa, like without them throwing their stuff into there and everything like that. So I use quite a bit of all of them now that I've got a pair of Maui Jims. So, well, that was the big brand.
Nice.
I was pretty happy with that. And I've got to, I left it to last, but it's a big thanks to the Brim Project, because I did say briefly over there, going into an area that you just don't know what's going on, and it's not a huge fishery because it's probably too far for the Perth boys to just, you wouldn't do it in a weekend. If you were keen enough, you would, but to put together their kayak stuff that you run on your podcast and just trying to, I do that. Oh, okay, so they do that. Yeah, and just to get a rough idea, just to pack your bag. Like I had to cull so much gear because I had so much in there. I'm thinking, I'm not going to get all this on the plane. So, and that, any sort of YouTube and stuff that you can find out there. So to all the socials and especially you, it's a big thing. It did work well for me.
Oh, very good, mate. I appreciate that. And you've just obviously given back, and some of the switch baiting stuff that you talked about has not really been discussed in all the podcasts I've done. Just maybe a couple of times we've touched on it. So
yeah, cool.
That's actually a very cool way.
Yeah, it's a good
to give back.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
All right, there you go, mate. I want to congratulate you on your win. Yeah, we'll talk to you in the future. Good luck in the grand final if I don't speak to you before. And yeah, thanks for coming on.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew.
All right, thank you.
All right, so there you have it, everybody. What a great episode. Congratulations to Adam and the other guys that ranked. I found this a really interesting episode with the surface bites and all the varied lures and what have you. So thanks for the guys for coming on and sharing. In other news, as everyone knows, the regular listeners that are hanging around, it's been a bit of a rough couple of weeks. So I'm definitely getting back on track. We've still got shows consistently coming out, and I'm just in the process of chasing up some new interviews from comps that have been run now for over a month or more for some of them. But rest assured, that will be happening, and those shows will come to air as soon as I get them done. And I think given this is such a big episode, I'm just going to leave it there. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all the continued support, and I will talk to you next week on the Brim Fishing Project.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you were informed, inspired and entertained. If you were able to learn something or just enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing and rate us on your favourite podcasting platform.